Hey everyone, what's up? Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, welcome. My name's Sarah. I do have a Project Pan finale for you today. So not only have I had to restart this video several times at this point, but this is actually the second day that I have been trying to film this video. So I actually filmed this, and due to a variety of different reasons I had to refilm it. So forgive me if I seem a little flustered, frazzled, anything like that. We are struggling lately. This is the finale to the whole collection of Project Pan, and if you have no idea what I'm talking about, I will leave my intro link down below. Those of you who have been around, on my channel this year know that I didn't do the best job of updating this project because of just all of the craziness of 2020, and I'm filming this currently, this second attempt at filming this. I'm actually filming on New Year's Day. I definitely wanted to get this finale up for you guys earlier, but yeah, it was not what happened. So, but like I was saying, 2020 was definitely not my year for panning, and I'm sure a lot of you had that same, thing happen where your panning didn't go quite as planned. So I'm looking forward to a nice fresh start for this new year. I'm excited to kind of wrap this project up and start fresh for a round 3. So we will be doing the round 3 whole collection Project Pan collab. So if you would like to join us, definitely let me or Emily know. I will leave her linked down below. Other than that, please make sure you're going and checking out Becky. She is the creator of this Project Pan. Her channel will be linked down below as always. And there also is a master list and a playlist for everyone else who is participating in this Project Pan. And if you look on the master list, you'll also find some people doing this on Instagram. So again, all the details of this project will be listed/linked down below. And definitely make sure you are checking out everyone else's finales. By the time this video goes up, the other one should already be kind of on its way, like the intro to round 3. So, okay, so I'm going to kind of run through some of these products pretty quickly. So the product that I'm going to start off with is probably the one that I felt like was the biggest struggle for me this year, because it's just not a product that I use every single time I do my makeup. It's a step I skip quite often, and it is a contour stick. So this is the ABH. It's actually a foundation stick, but it's in one of their contour shades. It's in the shade Fawn. This is pretty old in my collection. It has some wax bloom around it, so it doesn't exactly look super appealing. I did not really make any progress on this since the last time and I don't remember when this was, but the last time I was able to make a new mark for this, I have not made any visual progress since then, despite using it the same number of times almost. You will notice that this one has not moved at all, which is really, really frustrating because I used it close to the same amount of times that I had used it previously when I was able to make that mark. So I'm not exactly sure what happened there. Looking back, I wish I had just given myself a usage goal of using it 20 times or something like that, and I think that would have been a little bit more motivating for me. Moving on to the next product, I do have my Urban Decay Heavy Metal Glitter Liner. This is in the shade Glamrock. I believe my goal on this was to use it 15 times. Or it could have been 10, I don't actually remember. This is not a product that I, again, feel super compelled to pan. This is a type of product I might consider kind of taking out of my whole collection spreadsheet in the future so that I don't roll something like this in. But also, I'm okay with, rolling it in and putting a usage goal on it. I only used it 10 times, so depending on what my goal is, I either met it or I didn't. I was 5 short, potentially. And that's okay with me. I would still consider that an okay item, a successful item in this project, but it's not really, in my opinion, a product that I need to be panning. So moving on again to the next product. This was a product that was actually rolled in at the same time that Heavy Metal Glitter Liner was rolled in, and it is my Colourpop Lunch Money Super Shock Highlighter. So I have sort of a love-hate relationship with this highlighter. So first thing I will say about it is that this year I somehow managed to be working on 4 highlighters for a good chunk of the year, and when I rolled this in, this was the 4th highlighter I believe that I was working on. It was the 2nd cream highlighter that I was working on, and so I really didn't give it much attention just because the other highlighters were ones that I wanted to work on more. I have watched a lot of other people this year pan these Super Shock highlighters through like Partners in Cream and other projects. I was definitely inspired by them, so towards the end here I did start to try and use this a little bit more, and I was able to use it a total of only 5 times in this project, which again is not good for like a normal project pan. Like if this was any other year I'd be like, wow, that's really bad, but for 2020 I'll take it. The last time I used this, actually, I did try to use it underneath my foundation, and this is why I have a sort of a love-hate relationship with it, is because it definitely did not work well for me that way. I think there was a number of issues going on, one of them being that my skin is super dry right now, so I don't think it had a good chance at all of sitting well on top of my skin regardless of where I applied it. So I'm going to be trying this again underneath foundation when I've been taking a little bit better care of my skin. I think that is a product though, even though I didn't work on it a ton this year, I do want to work on it next year and actually dedicate some time to it, and you know, again, hopefully when my skin is doing a little bit better I can try it underneath foundation again. So next up I have the other highlighter that was in this project pan, and this is one that I just don't think is a product that works well for me, and I am considering decluttering this palette. So this is the Laura Gellar Dripping in Gold Illuminator palette, and I was working on this shade right here, which is Molten Copper. As you can hopefully see, this is looking like a lot more worn, and if you can kind of compare it to the other ones, it is losing a little bit of its like swirled design on it. I did use it quite a bit this year, considering how much I had used it in the past, which had been literally never. I also mixed in Fringe Fizz quite a bit when I would use this, because this shade, let me swatch it for you, it's not a shade that I can really wear. Even if I self-tan, I find that it is still a little too deep, and I believe it's because it just has such a rich base color to it. I find it just generally always leaves just a little bit of a stripe on my face. With that being said, didn't make great progress on that highlighting shade, but it was a really hard product for me just because of the color, and you know, looking back, I really wish I had just like repicked a product, re-rolled that one. So next up I have the 3 lippies that were in this project. I had 2 mini lipsticks and 1 lip liner. So the first of the mini lipsticks, I did have one of the Bite Beauty Amuse Bouche lippies. This is in the shade Virgo. If you watch my declutter, you know that I am decluttering this. This formula has definitely gone off. You can tell, like, if you were in person, you would be able to look at this and tell, like, it doesn't look quite right. It definitely doesn't smell quite right, and I think it was very close to expiring when this project started at the beginning of the year. I think just from opening it to use it to, you know, get progress on the product for this project, it just made it kind of just pushed it over the edge, you know, and it finally went bad. I am decluttering this. I'm going to be throwing it out. I was only able to use this an additional 3 times. I believe 2 of those times were as a cream blush. I did like it for that, and if this, you know, hadn't turned, I would have definitely continued to try and use it up that way. And then the other shade that I had is also one of the Bite Beauty Amuse Bouche lippies, and this is the shade that I'm wearing today. This is the shade Gemini, and for some reason, even though I got these at the exact same time, they were part of the same set, this one is doing fine. It's definitely close. Like, if I don't get this used up soon, it will definitely be going bad very quickly. I do have a plan to put this into a project for 2021 for this year, so I am excited to continue to work on this. And it's a beautiful color. I really do like it. I've been having a lot of fun this year panning it. I think there was definitely a period of time where I was super sick of this shade, but then I kind of got back into it. So my camera cut me off a little bit, but I think what I was in the middle of saying is just that, you know, I have been enjoying this shade. My progress on it wasn't the best, but I did get some decent progress on it, and honestly, with how last year was, that's all I can really ask for. So I am glad that this particular shade was in this project, because, you know, I love nude lips, so, you know, that's always a good product to have in a project, I think. So I used that an additional 7 times because I am wearing it today. I didn't mark that because this is the second time that I'm filming the finale, and I'd already kind of marked on my piece of paper and everything like how far I had gotten, so I didn't get that like 7th use technically in there, but I don't think it really changed like where I could mark a new line for the piece of paper and stuff. So, and of course I have the third lippy, which is a lip liner. This is from NYX and it's in the shade Natural. Go ahead and swatch it so you can see. I'm going to swatch it right next to the Gemini 2 shade, so it's over here. And the two pair really nicely together. I am also wearing this today, so I did get like an additional use on this even after I had marked it, and I did have to sharpen it today, so kind of wish I had held off on making a mark, even though I thought I was pretty much done with this project, then realized I had to refilm it. So I used this an additional 12 times. Alright, so moving on, I have only, I believe, 3 more products to talk about. So the next product I have is from Sigma. This is their Aurora powder in Corday Rosa. So I think this is a really beautiful blush. I just swatched it right there. It took me all year, but I did get my 30 uses on this, so I am counting this as a successful product. I did hit my goal, and that was just to use it 30 times, and I finally did. I would love to hit pan on it at some point, but I do also think it'll be nice to have a little bit of a break from it as well. Okay, so next up I had 2 eyeshadows that were in for the entire year, and originally my goal was to hit pan on them, and then somewhere down the line I did make like an adjustment to my goal, which was just to use it 15 times for both of the shades. So the first shade that I have is from my Natasha Denona Star palette. I was not super happy to pull this shade into this project just because I have so many other eyeshadows that would be probably a little bit more fun to pan, and this one is quite pigmented, so hitting pan seemed like it would be impossible, and I didn't hit pan on this one unfortunately, but it's the shade right here, and this is the shade Earth. We'll hopefully be able to see in a close-up that I did start to get a little bit of a dip forming here. So I found out that I actually really enjoyed this as a brow powder. I did, I don't remember how long ago this was because they've grown back and it feels like forever ago that I did this, but I did shave off like the tail ends of my brows, and when I had done that, I then went to go fill in my brows to like practice how I would be filling them in every single day, because obviously I didn't want to be calling into like Zoom calls at work with only half my brows. So I was like, I'm gonna have to do my brows like almost every single day. I realized that none of my brow products that I had in my collection were really going to cut it for filling in like a whole missing part of my brow. So I tried this out as a brow powder and it worked out amazing. I know I will be using as my brow powder if I ever do that again. But I did get my 15 uses plus more on this guy. I used it a ton of times and wasn't able to hit pan, but I did get that little dip started, which is great. I also use it as an eyeshadow plenty of times as well, and I do think it's a really great eyeshadow. A little bit of that goes a very long way, so just using it as an eyeshadow, I do not think I would have even had the slightest dip. I think it would have remained looking very much unused. So without it being a brow powder, there was like, yeah, there was not going to be any dip whatsoever. Alright, and that brings us to our last product of the whole collection, Project Pan Round 2 collab of 2020. So I have my other eyeshadow in here, which comes from the Certifeye Dynasty palette. If you watched my declutter, you do know that I am going to be decluttering this. The reason that I'm decluttering my Certifeye palettes is that they're not my favorite formula. They're not bad, but they're just not my favorite, and I do have quite a few eyeshadow palettes in my collection, so it just didn't really make sense for me to keep this palette in my collection when it's not my favorite. So I am glad that I got some use out of it this year. I did spend quite a lot of time with this palette. So if you did happen to watch my Pan Those Eyeshadows intro from last year, notice I said intro, not project, because I literally only ever posted an intro. I did try and work on the shades that I pulled. So one of them was actually from this palette, and then I had another Certified palette that was in that, that got pulled in that intro, and I also had a shade in this project as well, and I actually I did hit pan on all 3 of those shades. So one, again, is not in this palette. But as you can see, the shade that was in this project was Opal, and I did hit pan. And then the shade that I had pulled from this palette for my Pan Those eyeshadows is Empress over here. And there's like a baby pan in there. I don't know if you can see it. Hopefully you guys can see those 2 pans in there. So Empress was not in this project, but I still decided I wanted to show you that pan. So Opal was not my most favorite shade to work on. These kind of icy blue shades they're just not my favorite. The formula ended up being pretty soft on these shimmer shades, and I was able to hit pan pretty quickly on it because it was such a soft formula. So I am glad that I kept with it. I was definitely just wanting to try to move it out of the project at one point because it just didn't really feel super inspired by it. I kind of came up with a couple of ways that a couple color combinations that I enjoyed using it, but once I had done those a couple of times I was pretty bored of it and it just kind of was a pain to pan. So I am glad that I was able to end the project with at least 1 pan. So that's it for my project, and I hope you guys enjoyed this finale. I know it wasn't the most exciting ever, but given everything about 2020, I am still pretty dang happy with how much progress I did end up making. I think I prepped a lot of these products for future panning, if that makes sense. 2021 is definitely going to be better in terms of me updating things more consistently. I have like a whole system kind of worked out for myself, and really excited to see how this next year goes, and just yeah, I have a lot of things planned for my channel, so I'm really excited. If you enjoy project panning or just want to see more content from me, please make sure to subscribe if you haven't already. Also, please give this video a thumbs up if you did enjoy, and definitely leave me a comment down below. What projects are you doing this year? And are you guys going to join us in the round 3 of the whole collection project pan? Let us know. Other than that, I don't have anything else to say. I hope you guys are having a fantastic, wonderful New Year's. That's it for me. I will see you all in my next video. Bye.